Hi, Mom.
3, 2, 1. We should be live now. What do you think, Tony B? Do you think we're live? Check on your phone, yeah?
That red thing is saying something.
The red thing, you should never ever press the red thing. So don't even.
It says waiting, going live on the Existentialists, waiting for the Existentialists.
Why are they waiting for us? May I?
Hi, everybody, if you're there.
Why are they waiting for us?
Ah!
Cuties.
Ah! Hi, everybody, if you're there. So there's a delay. Hi, everybody, again.
Is this an LG? It is.
Hi, Mom.
Here you go, Tony. I don't know how your phone works.
I wonder if my mom's watching.
I know my sister isn't because she doesn't love me that much. She does. So, hey, everyone out there. I know there's... Oh, you know what? Let me share it on my page, too.
I'm like a celebrity right now.
I know we're live, right?
I feel so tiny.
So, Tony.
Jeez.
When was the last time I saw you, my friend? Some weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can never get a signal down here in your basement.
Sorry, I have a secret basement. It's like a bat cave.
It is said that in Tony's basement, no one can hear you scream.
Nope, she didn't scream.
Well, anyway, Tony, I'm very proud to announce that Donnie Tiny Hands Trump, as you like to call him, now has a new friend.
No.
I know. Maybe even a usurper.
Who will save
Yes.
the day? On my hand, I'm going to say Bernie Sanders.
No.
Oh.
Since he doesn't believe in capitalism, his bobblehead was never made.
Hillary Clinton believes in capitalism.
She believes in crony capitalism.
No.
So
okay.
Every bobblehead comes with a barrel of oil. Except we have no use for barrels of oil here. Crude oil, anyway. So, let me present him. And until he... President Lincoln.
Oh my God. That is so cool.
You want to play with him?
Mr. Republican himself.
Isn't he the best Republican president? That's what they say.
I thought Donald Trump was the best Republican president.
Amen to that. Okay, Tony, so let's get on to it. There's some interesting shit that happened today. I know there was another Senate hearing. It was a Senate Intelligence Committee, correct?
Yes, I loved it. It was so much
I have seen
fun.
so much of Dianne Feinstein in the last 8 years. It's way too much, man. It's just so much that I've seen of that lady. Not even the last 8 years, like the last 5 years, man. It's just ridiculous.
I don't really want her in the Intelligence Committee anymore.
Is it because she's not intelligent?
I just don't want her to know anything about the United States government.
Oh, geez, that lady.
Someone should kick her out.
So anyway,
California
what was it about?
Comey, Director Comey, or former Director Comey of the FBI, decided, I'm going to talk about my feelings. Essentially, that's what I felt that it was. He was testifying on what led up to him being fired by President Donald Trump. And I just had to watch. I just had to see, he's going to reveal something. I felt like this was just, the news was all over it, so I had to know before the news told me. And I watched it, and I was just kind of like disappointed, to be honest with you.
A lot of what came across from Comey is that he was even surprised of why he got fired. He thought he was doing a good job. He was always looking he wasn't always looking, but he got a lot of validation from President Trump and a lot of subordinates that he was doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And he really had no idea that his firing was coming. It was until that day. He didn't even find out from the president. He found out from cable news of how he's fired. And then he went to his office and someone told him, get your shit out. And he was fired.
See ya. It was, I have to admit, hearing a first-hand testimony from him, it had some value to it instead of the news covering it the whole time. It was annoying. But I love the fact that he was like, when Donald Trump was like, everyone was together in the room, the attorney general, they were all together. And he said, yeah, he pretty much told everyone to leave. And he's like, yeah, Comey, you stay. We're just going to talk. And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, boss, don't leave me. He told Sessions, like, what are you doing? They had that conversation. That's when he said, oh, shit, I should record everything that's going to go down. Not like audio, but I should
write it down.
Yeah, I should write this all down because something's about to happen, and I'm concerned. So I was like, hey, yeah, you should be concerned.
Look, that's some good foresight there, because he looked at his eye and he said something might go down. I might as well just record it all. However, when Trump asked him to what were the exact words? To forget about.
Oh, I hope you can let this go.
With Michael Flynn.
I hope.
How come there Comey didn't have the foresight to say, Mr. President, that's wrong? Because he in his testimony, he said he didn't know what to say. He didn't say anything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Instead of telling the president, hey, Mr. President, this is borderline illegal what you're asking me to do.
This is inappropriate. Right.
Yeah, but it's funny. Who was it? I think it was Marco Rubio who told him. No, someone was cross-examining James Comey, and they told him, is it illegal to hope for something? And he said, not to my knowledge, no one's ever been prosecuted for that. So he had enough foresight to record what was going on, but not enough foresight to tell the president, Mr. President, I can't do what you're asking me to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or at least I can't do what you're hinting me to do.
Yeah, I don't like this non-straightforward talk to each other, right? He said, Donald Trump phrased to him, I like people loyal to me. He's like, well, I can be honest to you. Like, I need loyalty. Well, I can honestly be loyal.
I can loyally be honest.
I can loyally be honest. Yeah, he's pretty much saying, well, I'll be loyal to the fact that I'm going to be honest to you. It's like, why can't you just stop beating around the bush? Be like, bro, for real. And I'm gonna talk like to the president, but can you just be straight up with him? What were you afraid of? Were you really afraid of losing your job? Come on.
Well, there are some protections built around the FBI director's job. He'll be there him or her will be there for 10 years, and they can always be fired at any point.
Yeah.
But there is some protection built around that because they do have 10-year-long terms, and they're not at the whim of the sitting president at the time. So I think he's more worried about his reputation than his job, James Comey. But like I'm telling you, Democrats were angry for him, and then when he got fired, Democrats came and gave him sympathy. Yeah,
you're such a great guy. Thank you for being here today.
So which is it? I don't even know.
It was just something a marvel to watch. I love the fact that he said he just has to repeat himself on this notion. The FBI is a reputable institution.
Sure, right.
He has to defend the FBI and the amend that we have to honor them. They do such a great job. Even though I'm there, they're going to do great work that needs to be done. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But are you being serious right now? Are you really defending the FBI like that much?
Right.
And no, I can't buy it. The FBI is notorious for, and then he brought up J. Edgar Hoover's name.
J. Edgar Hoover, he took a lot of liberties with the FBI, as we know. He just amassed a lot of power for the FBI.
Mm-hmm. That's why they had to check it eventually. Thus, the 10 years being director.
Wasn't
term limit.
Fred Thompson? That was his name, the Black Panther here in Chicago. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
His first name was Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember his last name. Wasn't he killed by the FBI?
You don't know that.
I think he was killed by the FBI.
You don't know that.
Wasn't John F. Kennedy killed by the FBI, or was that the CIA?
I think that was CIA. No.
Sure, that's right.
Is it? Yes. Martin Luther King, though.
Who was he? He was killed by the CIA.
Wasn't FBI, though?
It was the FBI.
Because Hoover's the one that had.
FBI.
Yeah.
Because I remember was there a lawsuit or some shit?
Pretty much the whole Black Panther movement dismantled by the FBI. So we should trust you. Yeah, you're reputable. We get it. No, but it just, as a private citizen, all these things that he was being asked, and he just kept saying in the second, what was it? Non-disclosed, the closed session, the private session they were gonna have after the fact they had the public hearing. I was like, what the hell?
We don't know what they said.
I sat here for more than 2 hours listening to you. Okay, we're gonna go to lunch and we're gonna come back and no news reporters are allowed back in. We're gonna talk in secret. And I get it, they have an investigation. They don't want any information to get leaked. But someone in the committee asked him, I think it was Rubio. He said, now I understand why you're not going to answer certain questions, why you feel you can't, but like, isn't it kind of odd that all this information is being leaked and the news is talking about it anyways? Like, who's leaking this information? It's FBI.
It's funny to see how law enforcement and, to extension, lawyers, people who have gone to law school with James Comey and a lot of senators, a lot of them are law graduates, how they have to deal with this mob boss. Donald Trump is a mob boss. I want loyalty. If you're not giving it to me, you're fired. No, he loves loyalty. So I think it's just hilarious how they all try to cope and try to stand up to him. And for the most part, they can't yet.
No, they don't have any dirt on him yet. And that's what they asked him as well, right? They asked about his connection.
Funny enough, because they did tell Comey, oh, do you think the Russians attacked like the U.S., the electoral system? And he was saying, yeah, sure.
Without a doubt, right?
Without a doubt. But then they asked him, do you think the Trump administration, his campaign at the time, had any ties with Russia? And James Comey had to say, I don't have a shred of evidence. I don't have any proof.
But there's an investigation.
There's an investigation. So it might have been that Russia did interfere in the elections through phishing attacks. Maybe perhaps that's how they got John Podesta's emails. That was a phishing attack for sure. I still don't believe Russia did it, but they might have done that. They might have done propaganda. Who knows? I don't think that they hacked any electoral booths or any tolls. But it is very possible that Russia at least tried to influence it, and that's what they were saying, that there's evidence for that. But for evidence to say that Trump worked with the Russians, so far there's none of that.
Yeah, you're right.
And so to all the to all the Democrats out there, including Rachel Maddow and what's the other guy? Keith Olbermann, and all the people who just want Russia to be with Trump. I'm sorry. The FBI director just said he has none. It's not going to happen.
Now, I'm going to go, I want to ask you, I thought about this because they brought it up in this hearing. They brought up Hillary Clinton again. There was this annoying process that they just kept bringing up Hillary's emails. They kept having hearing after hearing. And then, that again with Benghazi, right? Hearing after hearing after hearing. The Republicans wanted to nail her.
What does it matter?
There was an obsession to nail her. And that was a quote from Hillary Clinton. What does it matter? The troops died. Yeah, that was terrible. I can't believe she said that.
Were they troops? Wait, were they troops or were they private security?
No, what they were soldiers.
I think they were SEALs, right?
That I can't verify.
Oh, whatever.
So, I want to know, what do you think that? Okay, right? We saw the Republicans just annoy, and the Democrats were like, just let it go, right? There's no evidence to suggest what you're suggesting. And now here we go, flip coin, trying to get Donnie Tanahan's. And we keep having this ongoing investigation, hearing the news keeps talking about it. What do you think? I mean, I kind of want to see him fall. And I want to see him fall. I want to find him guilty. I want to find evidence to prove it, but there's nothing, right? Do you think that, how annoying is this to you that they're prolonging it, just like the Republicans did to Hillary Clinton? You think it's necessary? Are the Democrats being hypocrites?
I would say it's necessary up to the point where all evidence can be flushed out. If there is collusion between Trump and the Russians, flush it out, put them in handcuffs, throw away the key. If there was any evidence of Russia interfering in the election, sanction them, do what you got to do, short of a war. Everything up to short of a war. And although a lot of people say sanctions are an act of war because you're hurting their pockets.
Yeah.
So I like I'm saying, this is very as long as the consequence is good, I think they should go as far as they can, which is a very utilitarian argument.
Oh, here we go. We're not going there.
No, not right now.
Saving it. We're saving it.
I know. By the way,
just in case you're watching us live for the first time, please check out our philosophical arguments me and Miguel will be having for the time being. Let's see how far we can stretch this out, but it would be one interesting to see if you identify with one of our ethics, moral codes, blah, blah, blah.
So far the videos are on Facebook, but we will be uploading them to YouTube very shortly, so just stay tuned for that, and you guys can follow along with the argument.
And subscribe to YouTube channel.
And like the Facebook page.
Yeah, just do it.
And send us nudes. I mean,
No.
Not that
Why?
part.
Why not?
No.
What?
No.
You can't. This is live.
No one sent us news.
This is live. Okay, so I'm gonna jump the gun a little. Still on the same topic. If in fact that Donald Trump is innocent, and Russia's this big hoax, I think it was Vault 7.
Vault 7?
I don't know. You remember we did that story, Vault 7?
God, yes.
Pretty much the tool of the government. They leave the digital fingerprint of another government entity, kind of saying, "Oh, look what they did," and really it was the U.S. government. I think they're framing the Russians.
That's a very good way of putting it. That is a very, very.
I don't know. I'm jumping the gun, right? But come on, they have the tool. This big hype that they're saying there's evidence Russia was involved. There's definitely a evidence, but where's the evidence? They can't show us. I think the reason they can't show us is because they use their technology to frame Russia.
Look, the number one rule if you're ever arrested for a crime or anything is if they don't have the smoking gun, don't incriminate yourself. Trump he's getting closer and he's inching towards incriminating himself. Hey, I hope you can drop this with Michael Flynn. I want some loyalty, right? Dude, they don't have the smoking gun, Mr. President. They don't have the smoking gun. There's no reason for him to be acting like a mob boss trying to separate himself from Russia. Mm-hmm. He's already the president of the United States. That's enough separation from Russia as we need. And by the way, Tony, the Democrats, the other day, they released a study. Supposedly, there is enough evidence to support the claim that Russia had ties to the Soviet Union.
I knew it. they probably did say that. They probably just misworded. They said Soviets. I bet you they did.
It's a meme I kept seeing online.
Oh, seriously?
Which reminds me again, the left cannot meme, but the right is very good at it.
Bastards.
All right, let's move on because I'm tired of talking about Trump,
Yeah, but that's Trump news for you. We'll keep you updated, I guess.
There's so much news about the guy.
So I mean, we could keep going Trump news and
nope, I'm good.
No, we're done. No more Trump news.
Well, we'll get back to it. He's such an interesting fella. I wonder how the history books will remember him. So, anyway, today there was a very important election, and I mean supremely important election.
I'm kept out of the loop. What's
and it was not here in the U.S. It was across the pond to our former monarchy.
Wow.
The UK today had their snap election where all the parties got to run again to be elected prime minister. Because when Brexit won, David Cameron, the then sitting prime minister, I'm boring you to death.
No, I'm like following you right now. I'm like,
okay. So let's go back to June 2015. So first of all, David Cameron won power in 2010. That's the first time the Conservatives won power since 1992. I did a video about this. I'm right. So from 92, after that, the Conservatives didn't win again. It was until 2010 that Conservatives won. And David Cameron was the prime minister. 5 years later, he won again. And he ran on the promise of saying, if you guys elect me to win, I will have the Brexit vote. And then we can decide if we stay in the Union, in the European Union, or we leave.
Right.
So he won. He held the referendum. He was actually pro-EU. He lost. Brexit won. Britain decided to leave the Union. Not just Britain, but the UK. And so he said, since this is going to happen, I'm going to step down. There should be someone better equipped than I to lead this transition. Enter in Theresa May. She came in 2016. That's year.
How it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Come to me for all your British.
Yeah, for real. Wow.
I love British culture.
Cameron stepped down.
Yeah, he voluntarily stepped down.
And that's how Theresa May came into the fray.
Which is funny because this is David Cameron. He came in. He's like, hey guys, look, I have this grenade. If all you guys gonna vote, and I pull the pin, or I leave it in there. And people voted to pull the pin, so he pulled the pin, and instead of staying there waiting to explode, he gave it to someone else. Like how that's just the perfect way of giving.
Slayer.
You could say that he gave up his duty.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to stain his legacy. Like he's just like, nope.
So he's gonna let someone else take care of that transition. That's why he stepped down and Theresa May stepped up. So the next election would have been in 2020. Yeah, 2020, because 2015 to 2020, that's 5-year terms.
That makes sense.
So instead of waiting to 2020 and letting her popularity go down, she decided to have the snap election now, which will be in 2017. So that would give her an extra 2 years until the next election. Get me?
Yeah.
So everyone started running against each other. So it was the Scottish National Party, UKIP, the Conservatives, and the Labour Party, which are their version of the Democrats. And they just had the worst candidate ever, Jeremy Corbyn. He's just
the Labour Party. I've heard of this guy.
He's such a bourgeois socialist, dude. I know I'm saying bourgeois and socialist.
Yeah, that's like what?
Doesn't make sense. He's an SJW. I'm sorry. In the party, there's a bunch of SJWs.
Wait, but do they have the interests of the working class, or are you just saying they're out in the front?
It's in the front.
That's terrible.
They're bourgeois people. They're just bourgeoisies.
But were like the labor populists, were they like in support of him? Were they like blindly following this bourgeois candidate?
I have to look at the polling. So far as it stands right now, they're losing. We should actually check up.
Oh.
But I think we can check the polls because they're 6-7 hours ahead of us. I can't remember what's daylight savings time, but we should be able to. I'm trying.
I'm looking.
No, I know. I mean, I'm just saying it's.
So it
was a smart move by Theresa May to say, "Hey, I know I'll have 3 years left of this term left because this guy left." But instead, she decided to have the snap election while she had high popularity polls, and then she's gonna win again, and she'll get an extra 2 years. Good for her.
Yeah, it was a smart move. Yeah, she could stay, and it'll just show, I'm being fair. Okay, so right now we have. I don't know if that's what you want to look at.
The Labour Party.
Shit. Jeremy Corbyn, 16 seats.
So the Labour Party has won 16 seats. At the moment, it is 7:20 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. because we're in Chicago. Conservatives have won 8. And then there's the Green Party, but no one ever talks about them. And the Liberal Democrats. Funny enough, there's Labour and Liberal Democrats.
We need a Labour Party here. So we're
oh shit! There's a hung parliament. There might be a hung parliament.
So what do you think? You think she's gonna lose it? I've been hearing a lot about this Corbyn guy, but I didn't know all this bad stuff. I mean,
there's some good stuff that he says. I haven't dug too deep into Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah,
I've just seen some of his more social policies, and he seems like a big SJW.
Yeah. Don't say that. That's mean. But I heard that he's a populist candidate.
No, he's not the populist.
Not at all, huh?
No.
Oh.
In fact, I will tell you this. Even I want the Conservatives to win just because it's fucking hilarious when the Conservatives win.
You're like a comedian. I have more content if...
Yeah. Although they're not so good for the working class. They're just not good for the general populace. They're Republican lights compared to the Republicans here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But they are still pretty conservative.
Because they have big social programs there.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to cut them drastically like Ronner or Trump over here. But over there, they're just like, well, we should be a little more conservative. I don't know if that was a good accent.
That was Scottish, my man.
I saw Scottish part.
That was Scottish, lad.
Well, that's interesting. So that's going to be decided like at what? Tonight? So we'll know our results.
Within the next 3 hours, you should definitely know who won.
So we should remain live for the next 3 hours?
I gotta go in about 40 minutes. You can stay though.
Well, I mean that will say something in terms of the UK working with the United States. I think Theresa May and Donald Trump probably could have kicked it off. You think? I mean, is Theresa May an refugee position right now?
Yeah. She's a Brexit supporter. She was a Brexit supporter. I think she was for Brexit, and Brexit was to close the borders to not just illegal, but mass immigration from Africa, from Central Europe, even from Eastern Europe and from the Middle East. So Brexit wanted tighter controls on immigration from those places.
Wasn't there just an attack
in London? Yes, there was another one. So Tony, you're a liberal.
Yep.
Do you agree with me? I don't even know if I agree with this, but I'm just going to pose the question.
Pose it.
Is Islamic terrorism a huge threat to the Western world?
Um, I think Europe, definitely. United States, it could be a bigger problem here, but I haven't seen it become that big of a deal yet. In Europe, it's a big deal.
Well, if we look at it this way, the biggest terror attack hasn't been in Europe. Where was it? It was in the U.S. back 16 years ago, almost 16 years ago.
But the government did that. No, okay, you have a valid point in that sense, but in consistency, Europe has been hit harder than the United States. I mean, you can count the bodies, but I mean, when's the last time you said 16 years ago? And we could talk about 9/11 conspiracies, but the U.S. had its guard down. The U.S. is a strong state, and now that we have Donald Trump, I hate to say it, but maybe there's something we should be afraid about letting refugees in. Maybe the vetting process should be stronger. But
that sounds awfully xenophobic of you, my friend.
I know, right? But it's just that there's gotta be fear is real, and it shouldn't own our lives because it just destroys us. We eat ourselves from the inside of the nation. There's always a safety concern for the nation, and we have to do whatever it takes to preserve ourselves sometimes, and that might be unethical behavior. Do we have the capacity to take care of people? Is what I'm drawing to. We have to take care of our people first. That's like the America First mentality. I hate it, but it's true. What are we gonna do about these issues? And when it comes to refugees, we've seen what's going on in Europe. Can we assimilate these people into the United States? I think we can. I think we have a stronger capability because their multiculturalism, the way they approach it over there, it's having a backfire. So I'll go back to your original question. Is Islamic terrorism a threat to Western civilization? Yes. Because when I say Western civilization, I'm defining it as basic liberties that we kind of cherish and we hold on to. They're against that. It's not even about their religion at that point. It's just that they're against our ideals. They don't think we should have them. They look down on us. We're what are we? Infidels?
Infidels.
So yeah, I think
we are weird. By weird, I mean Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. We're weird, and I think that's a lot of what the Middle East doesn't like. A lot of what hardcore Islamists, which means political Islam. A lot of Islamists don't like that.
Right.
That's what we are. We're weird.
Well, you gotta. I always saw it as we can go back to colonialism, imperialism, right? This idea that the United States is a force that you don't want to mess with, and that could make a lot of people mad.
I wish we had the little soundbite right now. America, fuck yeah. So okay, you were saying?
Yeah, so it's like the big gang on the block. If you feel like these people are threatening to you, there's gonna be a retaliation. Now you can't, I'm not like I will never justify horrific acts done by ISIS and all these terror groups. But I think I had this conversation with a philosophy teacher one time. He pretty much said that these terrorist groups, they're not legit military forces because they lack a lot of things. One thing he said, they lack a real military identity, meaning uniform, base, a national kind of state. And it was like, wait a minute, you're having.
I don't like that argument.
I don't like it either. I was like, wait a minute, you're saying that they don't have a valid military stance because they're poor? That's how I saw it. Like you're justifying just because they're not rich to afford some kind of identity, some kind of symbol that they won't be, and they attack innocent people. The United States attacks innocent people. Like I wasn't understanding his argument. I was like, no, that's wrong. I don't like ISIS, but I will validate them as a real military threat.
I think the most important thing for a military to exist, an army, isn't so much that they all look the same. It's the central idea that keeps them all fighting. And ISIS has that. The Viet Cong, they're shit poor.
Yeah.
But they were able to hold off the strongest military in the world, the U.S. They defeated the U.S. Why? Because they held such a strong belief in their country, in fighting the dirty capitalists, that they were actually able to band together and just take it to the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. And what they do is that since they deemed them as less than and not a military capacity, That's when they start throwing the labels. That's when they're terrorists, they're rebels, insurgents. Yeah, they might be all those things, but now you're delegitimizing their cause. And I'm not saying their cause is righteous, just, but it is their cause. And just because you give them, you put names on them, you name calling, doesn't mean that what they're not saying isn't true or not.
That's a way that that's a way of underestimating the enemy. You never underestimate the enemy. And going on from there, it also reminds me of the argument that I've heard so many times. And I know you've heard it, and I hate it. When people say ISIS, Al Qaeda, Boko Haram, they're not real Muslims. They hurt other Muslims. It's the same thing here. You're labeling them something that they're not. If they say it's in their name, the Islamic State. If they say they're Islamists, if they belong and subscribe to Islam, they're Islamic people. They're Islamists.
Yeah, take them serious.
Yeah, exactly. The way of how the left does it, and even the left paints all of Islam as good people, and then unfortunately conservatives paint all of Muslims as bad people. Where the truth is kind of in the middle. It's not the people that are evil, but the ideology which can turn them evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong. And we just can't be underestimating them and mislabeling them as saying they're all peaceful, loving people, and only ISIS. They're not Islamic. They don't represent Islam. Yeah, they do. They present Islam to the truest sense that they believe, or I would say they read the book to the letter.
Yeah, the fundamentalists, right?
Yeah, fundamentalists.
Yeah. The argument always comes, well, not all Muslims. And no one said that.
Hashtag not all.
That always happens. Every time you criticize a group, well, of course not all. No one's saying, look, I don't like this idea that this punch down notion is immoral. Because you're saying there's a moral, there's a superiority, a hierarchy, and white people are all the way on the top. So we could talk shit about the white people all day. But when we start talking about Mexicans, we talking shit about black people, Muslims, Asians. Oh, not all. And then when we talk about white people, no one ever says, well, not all white people.
No one says that.
I never said it.
There's some fucking social justice warrior out there saying all white people are racist.
Yeah, man. Well, no, people.
And we can think of a few.
People believe that. You're all racist. You're all sexist. You're all transphobic. You're all Islamophobic. You're all this. You're all that. Because that's just the way it is. You were born that way. You're raised that way. And it's like, come on, man. Save those words for the people that actually harm others. But no, they don't want to. I got a little bulled up right now. Just bring it down. Bring it down. But yeah, we're not trying to demonize an entire religion or entire group of people. Really, it's criticizing with what the empirical evidence that's presented to us. This recent attack, was it Islamist? But it's not all Muslims. You're right, it's not all. But there's a pocket of Muslims, enough of them to pose a real threat and to scare the heck out of people. And that's what people are concerned. The fear is real, man. Fear is going to dominate the people's minds and hearts.
And Theresa May, she actually... So what happens when there's a tragedy? I think it was Rahm Emanuel who said, you never let a good tragedy go to waste. I think it was him. I have to check it. She did not let this tragedy go to waste. So Theresa May moved to allow the government to gain more power on the internet. So be able to search a little bit more the widespread internet just to see if there are any patterns out there. So really it is the British government took more power to be able to spy on its people. Right.
Yeah. It's sad though, because what comes out of tragedy is taking advantage of people's liberties.
So look, it does suck, because I would say if the government tried doing that here in the U.S., I would probably not stand for it, because here in the U.S., I think I'm more likely to be killed by a cop than a terrorist. I think I can't remember how. I can't remember.
Most likely to die in a car accident.
Yeah, more in an accident and all that. I think even our likelihood of a white supremacist attack is a little bit around comparable, or I don't know. I can't remember.
A little more than Islamic terrorists. Yeah.
Right, but these people in Europe, they don't live in the U.S. They see this more frequently than we do.
Yeah.
So we can say, oh, we're safe here. We don't see these attacks here. Right, but in the rest of the world, there's a lot of these attacks that come from Islamic groups, whether it be Boko Haram, Al Qaeda, or ISIS, ISIL, however you want to call
So I wanna ask now. Like you brought up this, I would hate it if the government did it now. Is his ban against refugees? Is that something you want to stand against? Because this wasn't originally Donald Trump. This was done by Barack Obama's administration. They analyzed the recent threats from that area of the world, and they decided these 7 countries, these are the ones we should be concerned about in terms of refugees. And Donald Trump's administration took that list and said, hey, this is perfect for our Muslim ban. And of course, it's not a Muslim ban. It's just that, that region right there is a threat. And so I want to know, like, are you against that? I part of me is like, you're an asshole, dude.
Look, first of all, the government, any state has the right to turn away anyone it wants.
Yeah, it's true.
Barring citizens and residents. Although, at the end of the day, if a country doesn't want to let a citizen come in, it can stop them, right? There's more scrutiny after that, because I think that's one of the mistakes Trump did when they first proposed the Muslim ban, the travel ban. They also kept out green card holders.
Yeah, that was.
These people were legally to be allowed into the country. So at the end of the day, I still believe that any state can keep those people out. But I think that's where he messed up, because it cost him political points at that time. He should have taken that on, and he said only new refugees. If you have green card, if you're a green card holder, you can come in. That's fine with me. I'm saying, interestingly enough, how many terror attacks have you heard of in Japan?
No.
None. Why? They don't allow refugees in. They're very stringent upon it. They just don't allow, either it's a very minuscule number or it's virtually nothing. They just don't allow people that aren't from their culture in. Only as tourists, and then get the hell out.
So there you go for the Western world.
The Western world can learn from there. Well, we don't call Japan bigots. We don't call the Japanese xenophobes and racists.
Not
They
yet.
don't allow people. They don't allow people that I think don't conform to their culture in.
Right.
And
yeah.
we do. And I mean, I know we've seen a lot of the terror here too has been homegrown. The guy in Orlando, he was homegrown. Who was it? And then in some of the attacks in London have been homegrown. In Paris, they've been homegrown. Others have been from actual ISIS members. I actually did want to talk about the Orlando one. That guy, I can't remember the terrorist name. Man.
That was the club?
The club.
Yeah.
Piece of shit douchebag. Anyway, if you look at his life, he was a guy who had a very hedonistic life. He liked to party. He liked to go out and drink. I think he had even frequented the gay bar a few times. He just loved life. And then what happened is he had an Islamic awakening. He thought, I should get back to my roots. I what am I doing to my God? And that's when he saw the hedonism and how people lived in the gay clubs, and that's why he decided to shoot it up, because that did not conform to Islam. It was haram. Remember that. And even in Manchester with the Ariana Grande concert attacks,
I heard about
what was it? It was a concert where young women were out at a concert having fun, no men supervising them, or very few of their male friends they're supervising. And so the attackers, they saw that and they said, this is haram. This is something that should not be allowed under Islamic rule. And they decided to attack it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. It like, for instance, so we have Lollapalooza, Spring Awakening in Chicago. There's a concert happening this Saturday, free at Millennium Park.
It's the jazz festival.
I just had to plug that in. I'm going.
You going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay.
It's 2:30. Be there, be square, or be square. Right? It makes me think. Do we want to live in fear? I want to go and have a good time. I don't want to worry about being blown up, and that's what this conversation leads people. It leads people to be afraid to go out. The rhetoric just destroys people, and it creates bigots. It does. You have now this group of people that think it's appropriate to talk shit to people that are different. This is the concern that I think is valid amongst my SJWs. I think that they're right that this rhetoric it's kind of unmasked these individuals, made them feel comfortable. And that's what sucks about it. But that's why I say we should just have these conversations more often, be uncomfortable more often, and just like filter out everyone sooner than later. Why wait for tragedy to have these conversations?
True.
So
Because at this point, it's just a cycle. Tragedy happens. We say our thoughts and prayers. We have the Facebook filters, and then we forget about it. Something bad happens. We have our thoughts and prayers. We have our Facebook filters, and then we forget about it. And it's just a cycle and cycle and cycle again. And what is going to happen is one day, some years down the line, there's going to be so many terror attacks that people will not be afraid to attack innocent people. So if there'll be attacks on Muslim people who are completely innocent, I know there'll be attacks just because, hey, in the last 5 years, look how your people have attacked us. So I'm going to attack you guys because you are a threat to me. And I don't know if you are or you aren't, but I'm going to attack you just to save myself. It's a preemptive strike.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happening in a few years.
It's disgusting. And I don't want people to live that way, but the pushback right now is you can't say these things. We're going to police your language. And that's just fueling the fire. These people are going to say whatever the hell they want. And if we're not ready to have these conversations, that's what the product is. So I pray for those individuals that are afraid because I don't want them to live that way.
So I have something for you. Do you think the Dreamer Coalition here, people who believe in immigrant rights here in the U.S., saying if these youngins come over here and they're in schools and they want to better themselves, they should have a path to citizenship. So think about it that way, immigrant rights. And if we look at Syria and all the refugees, that's migrant rights. Should those two coalitions join together? Even to an extension, we can say the people for Palestine. Because Palestine doesn't have a homeland or they're being kicked out of whatever little land that they have left.
That's interesting.
Because I do see that a lot. I see people saying, "Oh, we got to help. Let's come out for the refugees. Let's help people, right? Let's help undocumented people." But a lot of the values don't even really connect.
Right. You know what? I think I'll be honest. I remember being in the social work program, and I was speaking to my whole class, telling them that we should build a coalition together. So if you're fighting for this cause, and you're fighting for this cause, and you're fighting for that cause, all of us should help support each other's causes, and that would create a mass movement to show we have each other's backs instead of seeking permission from the government to benefit our own self-interest. So that one example that we did a model activity was, let's just say Abe Lincoln's town. Lincoln Town wanted resources for their community. Trump's town wanted resources for their community. And then Watertown wanted water. And then the second water. All these towns wanted different resources, but they needed resources for the community. They're always fighting against one another to pretty much get attention. They're fighting for attention. They're fighting for resources. And that's the conundrum within our society. Is like, how do we pick and choose who to benefit? Schools fight. Communities fight. Political identities fight. They're not fighting against each other, but they really are.
I think they're fighting for supremacy. Or whose message comes out on top.
Right, yeah. Like, okay, so for instance, the gay lobby was very strong. And I've heard a lot of resentment, which is stupid because it's like, well, leave them alone. They should have rights. They're human. But a lot of people are resentful. It's like, well, what the hell? How is it that you go from getting gay marriage to now you're all about bathrooms, and then other people are like, but what about us? And then they talk about marijuana, and people are like, fuck marijuana. What about immigrants? Legalize my family. Right, and now everyone's like saying your issue isn't as big a deal as mine, and now they just become divided. So, what you're saying, I kind of want that to happen. I kind of want them to build the coalition to support one another because it just shows we have unity within our mall. But see, then there's a conflict. We're gonna have disagreements, but that's why those conversations should happen. we should talk to each other and be like, hey, I don't like that. You shouldn't think that way. Or, I'm not trying to opine on you, but I think this or I think that. How is it that these different cultures are going to come together and their values differ? They have to have those hard conversations.
That's one thing that I think about the left that they have a problem with is there's saying in Spanish, el que mucho abarca, poco aprieta. So he who tries to hold on to a lot can't hold very tightly, right? If you try to hold on to so many things, it's just very impossible to notice everything and try to please everyone. And that's how I think kind of the left is, because the left does try to champion a lot of these issues, whether it be transgender rights, to migrant rights, to refugees, to the working class, what have you, education, healthcare, and just all these groups that say that they're all being oppressed. It gets really difficult to unite them all under one banner.
Mm-hmm.
That is why in the last election, Trump I think he got a third of the Latino vote, higher than Romney did in 2012, and even the African American vote, he got a higher percentage of that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helped him put him across the line in a lot of the states, because he had that support of minorities, whereas Mitt Romney didn't have it. So
it's too vanilla.
Let me just take that out of this. So like I'm saying, Tony,
let's get back to the movies. Let's get back to the movies. Let's get blue button up there, up here. Yeah, hey, and then the square button, and then the corner. Okay, square it again. It's corner. Sorry, folks. Sorry. We're back. Well, we were here and you saw us act like idiots. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that's kind of one of the conundrums of being the party of a big umbrella.
Yeah, it really is. There's so much that they have to try and hold on to that they can't hold on to a lot of things.
So, I mean, what's the solution? Like, do we ostracize certain groups and be like,
I don't know what the solution is. I'm not on the left.
Well, I mean, we're an outsider. What do you want to tell us?
Look, with Trump, it was very easy. It was let's lower taxes. Let's help the American people. He really just kept it simple. Well, he was, in fact, encompassing more people than the Democrats, because he was talking about white people and minorities. As long as you're an American, he said he would try and help those people. Whereas I would say the Democrats were trying to say, hey, we're trying to help the oppressed people from Trump so they don't get any more oppressed and what have you. And then we'll just keep doing the same shit for all the other people that aren't oppressed, that aren't targets.
Yeah, okay. So
Trump just made it simpler. He made it a simpler message.
So here's my way of simplifying our message. And you're going to attack me for this. Democrats, liberals, social justice warriors.
Progressives.
Regressives. Communists. Anarchists. Not so much you. You guys can go over there. Well, but I love you, though. If you want to we anarchists, I think you'll get on this page, but you'll probably be like, yeah, but we got to be more radical. So here's my thing. It's got to be about the working class. It has to be about class warfare. That's my position.
Look, I'm okay with doing for the working class. I'm not okay with class warfare. That's what you don't want.
I understand why not, but the war has already been put on.
Yeah,
us.
I was going to say that. That's funny. We've had class warfare for the last 30 years, going on 40, since Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Reaganomics, right? So I mean, it can put us together, because a lot of the problems that communities face, in my view, is because of the class structure. Lower classes, working classes, they get the bottom end of the stick. So that creates all these certain problems, violence, drug problems. I'm going to leave it there.
But not just even that, social mobility upwards is very difficult. It's very difficult to make your life for yourself.
Yes.
We hear about this time. People can't even get decent jobs. What was it? 50 years ago, with a high school diploma, you would be okay. You can earn a decent living with a high school diploma.
With benefits.
With benefits. 20 years ago, a college degree was fine enough to make a good life. Now you need a master's. Pretty soon you'll need a doctorate. And after that, you'll need a godderate or whatever.
Is that a thing?
No.
I was like, what? And then, but workers are turning against each other. No, you're not deserving of this wage. You should go back to school. You work at McDonald's. Fuck you. I'm this, I'm that. My value's more valuable than yours. Yeah. So we're turned against each other right off the back. But that's that problem. But if the workers got together, despite identity politics, you would see an easier movement to coalesce. You would see us be able to make progress easier. But you know what they said about Bernie? Oh, you need a white savior to come in, huh? Like, are you fucking serious? He's Jewish. Leave him alone. No, I didn't say he's Jewish. Like, come on. What does it matter? He's an old Jewish man.
He's also a septuagenarian. There you go.
Oh, that gives him bonus points. But that is my solution.
Septuagenarian just means he's in the 70s.
Oh.
Pretty soon he'll be an octogenarian. What's the other one? I can't remember how it goes after that. But I mean, we should run for office, Tony B.
I'm going to. I'm probably going to lose, but I'm going to. Like, I don't know when. I don't know where. Cicero, 2020. Nah, I'm just saying that. But, like,
we hear a knock on the door. Cicero police, open up.
No, it's really terrifying because the political powers, they have influence and they could come at you. They could tax you. They could find some penalties on your house. If you own a home.
And then if you try to live outside of the town, you can't run for anything in the town because you're not living within the borders.
Yes, well, I agree with that. You should live within the town. I wouldn't leave Cicero and be like, hey, I want to come in. It's bullshit.
A lot of our cops don't live in Cicero.
I think that's bullshit. I have a friend who's a Cicero cop, and he doesn't live in Cicero, and his reason is like, oh, man, you don't know, bro. They're kind of after me if they knew where I live. Like, what the fuck you become a cop for?
I've heard that too.
Yeah, no, I understand because him and his family, him and his wife, and their soon-to-be children that they want to have eventually. Yeah, they are a legitimate concern. But you decided to take on this duty. Take the responsibility with it. And this is just a whole other topic that we can transition to. But I think cops should live in their neighborhood they're serving.
Sure, of course.
Why the hell not? What are you afraid of? Oh, because your job is threatening? Well, that's why you're in that job. You're brave enough to do it. And this is a good guy. He's brilliant. I'm not trying to talk shit to him. I just disagree with him. I think he should live here. And I think we should make all cops live here. Not all cops from everywhere else, but Cicero cops should live in.
Hey, Tony, very quickly, because I have about a few minutes before I gotta get out of here. Have you seen Wonder Woman?
Dude, I was thinking Wonder.
What do you think? Up top.
I wanted to bring up Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman in theaters now.
But before that, stop by and see Alien Covenant. It's meh.
It was better than Prometheus. Definitely. I love Alien Covenant in theaters now. Wonder Woman. If we could put some illustrations, we would put Wonder Woman. We're getting paid by them. Dude.
By the way, I rewatched Aliens, the second movie with James Cameron.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just amazing movie. I'm going to go watch the old ones. All of them. But anyway, yeah, Wonder Woman. Are you thinking the exact thing that I was thinking?
I am.
What are you thinking?
The protest against Wonder Woman. I'm sorry, guys, gals, whoever you are, however you identify. This idea that you will protest Wonder Woman, to me, it seems a bit hypocritical. You're not consistent with your argument saying that because she's a Zionist, that she supports the defense for Israel, the military, right? What is the IDF?
The IDF. You know who else was a Zionist? Motherfucking Hitler. Hitler. Okay, so
what?
So this is how it was. Originally, Hitler was a Zionist. He wanted to expel the Jews and He wanted to expel the Jews out of Germany so that they could find their own homeland. But what happened is the German Empire during World War II, it kept getting so big and so big and so big. Every time they kicked out the Jews, they would just recover them in any territory they gained.
Right, like a sponge, just keep absorbing.
So that's why the final solution, whenever, was it 43? I think it was 1943. The final solution, when it finally did happen, when they started exterminating people, because the Germans saw that they just kept getting all these people. So they said, in order to get rid of them, we just have to exterminate them. Just get rid of them all. So in a sense, Zionism, here's where my argument gets a little... Is it such a bad thing to be a Zionist? Because Hitler was a Zionist. He believed in the Jews having their own place to live. Gal Gadot believes that, or Zionist, believes that the Jews should also have their own place to live. Just because she's a Zionist doesn't mean that it's something bad. A Zionist just believes that the Jews need a place to live. Now, what's happened within the last, 70, 60, 70 years is that people have taken that to the extreme, and they said all of Palestine should belong to the Jews and kick the Palestinian people out.
Mm-hmm. And that's what created the occupation, which is illegal, and then there's so many arguments going on about that.
So there's no two-state solution. Just what was originally just let's bring Jewish people here because that's their homeland became into let's kick other people out.
See, and I thought that was stupid. Okay, you could be a Zionist, believe that you should have your own homeland, but that was stupid to put them in Israel because they believe they belong there.
Right.
Why didn't? Okay, so there was an argument. I think Britain owned Palestine, right?
I think so.
They pretty much occupied it, and the Palestinian people still live there, but because of colonialism, imperialism, they owned that land. So that's why they were legally able to put the Israeli people there. But that was stupid because they created that conflict. Why the hell didn't you just give part of Britain to the Israeli people? Part of the UK should have been cut off.
Well, it's because traditionally, historically, Jews have lived in the Middle East.
But that's historically, and that's regardless of the point. Historically, Native Americans lived in North America. Does that mean that we should give them back the whole country?
But where they live in their sovereign states, they live within the United States. They don't live in Canada. They don't live in Mexico.
Okay, fine. But no, they did live in Mexico. They did live in Canada. They don't live right now, right?
I'm talking about the one, yeah.
That's your argument now.
American ones.
And okay, that's your true statement, but that's not their country because now they're given land, right? They're given land. They said you can have that land. We'll disagree with you whenever we want. We'll take your land back. So they're abused.
No, they can't take their land back because it's sovereign nations.
Yeah, I'm just kind of messing with them. They break treaties a lot. The United States breaks the treaties a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. So if that was the case, the Native Americans, it's apples and oranges, right? Native Americans should be given control of the United States government. This is their land. They should have their own nation.
I see what you're going with this.
I think it's bullcrap because you can't do that. You can't erase history, but all of a sudden you just can't just flip it and just say, oh, well, our ancestors did this, so it's fucked up. We should just do this now. No, I'm sorry. So they fucked up from the beginning by putting these people who might have deserved a homeland in Palestine, which creates this conflict. I don't give a fuck if you believe you belong there. But now you're there, so you got to stay there. I'm not trying to kick you out. I'm not an anti-Zionist or anything. I think I am because their occupation.
Because if we ask those people, do you think the Israelis or the Jews deserve a place to live? Yes. Yeah. Then you're a Zionist. I believe that they should live at least in the Middle East. Not necessarily in the Middle East, but as Jerusalem and Israel is in the Middle East, but they at least, or it's in the Mediterranean. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, I believe they need a homeland. Doesn't have to necessarily be in Israel, but that makes me a Zionist. You're a Zionist. People who believe that are Zionists. Well, yeah. But what happened is in its practice, it's just gone too far. Yeah. They've created conflict with the Palestinian people and bringing up Hamas and Hezbollah and just the war crime that's happened from both sides in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank.
Right.
So I can see why people don't want to go see Wonder Woman because of Gal Gadot's political views. But I'm going to say she is just supporting her country. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, no. She was born and raised. You have to see people when they're conditioned to live in a certain environment. That's the political perspective they see. It's like, I can understand why they don't like it, but at the same time, it's like saying you're never going to see an American-made movie by an American actor who supports our troops. Imagine protesting that. You won't do it. I don't think they will. Would you do it? Oh, you saw the movie, you saw Wonder Woman. But
no, I haven't seen Wonder Woman.
So imagine, you didn't?
I haven't seen it yet.
Dude, you're anti-Zionist.
I'm going to go this weekend. Chill out, man.
It's a cool movie. But if Bruce Willis is a cool action star. If Bruce Willis came out and said, I support the troops, wouldn't it be offensive for everyone to say, oh, he supports the troops, those murderers, they're occupiers, and they are. Our troops, not because of their desire, but the government policy has turned them into a bad symbol in America and then across the world.
So these criticisms, I see that they operate on a very one-dimensional and small view of morality, which is the care-harm principle, we shouldn't harm other people, and we should care for those that are around us. We should care for people. So when people criticize Gal Gadot and say, how can you defend the IDF? They kill Palestinians. They harm other people. Sure, I can see why people say, based on my morality, that's wrong, and I won't support you. But however, what about the morality of authority and insubordination? When we have higher authority, isn't that moral to support authority and not be insubordinate to them?
Right.
I think people just look at it one way. Oh, they're hurting someone, they're evil. Whereas she's supporting her own people. She's supporting those that are around her, because a lot of those people are young Jewish men and women who could die. There's very few casualties, but there are some dead. Gal Gadot is just strengthening her tribe. She's just coming out in support of her tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
And is it really wrong to come out in support of your tribe?
No. Well, yeah.
It depends. That's where it gets really muddy and really gray.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is a conflict of interest. And what is she supposed to do?
Because on the onset, the act itself of her supporting her people isn't wrong. What her people is doing, what her government is doing, might be wrong or not. Right?
I think it's wrong. It definitely is wrong. But she's not the one pulling the strings. People support horrendous others. People show support behind other people that make horrendous decisions in their lives. People love Cesar Chavez, and then you find out Cesar Chavez hated illegal immigrants. People love Martin Luther King. Then you find out Martin Luther King was actually very conservative. He was against a lot of things in black culture.
And then he also have infidelity.
Yeah, infidelity, of course. Yeah, but that's more conservative criticism. But think about it. Martin Luther King criticized black culture. He wanted a more conservative, nuclear family kind of identity for black culture. But since it was more about, jazz and, people were just wilding out. They were enjoying themselves. They're being creative individuals. He was sort of against that. So, you can look at the person's message. Jesus was a fundamentalist.
He was a carpenter.
He was a carpenter. He was a fundamentalist.
He used to beat his wood all the time.
Well, the thing is, it should be about messaging, and the person itself is just a person. It's a symbol that they represent. And in this movie, it wasn't a pro-Israeli movie.
It was pro-American, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wonder Woman. All America. We stopped the Germans in that movie. We put an end to them.
And in real life, we stopped them twice.
Yeah,
America.
But I think people should just see the movie just because it's cool. And I like DC and Marvel. I love superhero movies. You know what? She might be an awful person. She might be. But I didn't go to support her. I went because I wanted to see the damn movie. I like action. I like comic books. Therefore, I went. So,
Tony, you're telling me your sense of duty was overshadowed by your need for happiness? Boom. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there because I got to get out of here. But it's been fun, Tony. I think we should do some of this live stream more often. Yeah. And our viewers, let us know if you enjoyed this. If not, well, we're still going to do it. So I'm going to upload this later to the Facebook page. And if people want to chime in and ask us questions, we can do an Ask Us Anything here live, and we'll answer them. What's more awesome than that? Score. All right, guys. We are the Existentialists. Buddy.